Now for the fun part, guys. We get to talk shit for a few minutes. Quickly, I'm just going to cover three main themes. One, just do a little sanitation 101 for everyone. Second, what is PSI doing now? And some sanitation examples. So we heard a little from Ricky and Des about the health impact. So what does that mean in particular? Really, this is about that there's multiple pathogens causing diarrhea, trachoma, stunting, and anemia. Inadequate sanitation allows for the release of pathogens into private and public environments. This is exactly why we need to separate and keep separated humans from their shit, because it's getting into everything. It's in the neighborhood. It's in the drainage. It's in the receiving waters. This is getting in contact with humans, and it's making them sick, very sick, actually. And what's super interesting is that sanitation by itself can reduce risk of diarrhea by 36%. When you combine it with all the other things, hand washing, with soap, and hygiene, and clean water. So improved sanitation, this is important, includes sanitation facilities that hygienically separate human excreta from human contact. Public toilets are, according to the current definition, not considered improved, although there are some switches to that definition. Probably a shared toilet that is shared amongst family members only and not amongst sort of different families might be included in the new revised sustainable development goal definitions. But at the moment, public toilets are not considered shared, and unimproved sanitation includes pit latrines without slabs, platforms, or open pits. So basically anything where there's a huge opportunity to come in contact with that feces. And sanitation is now measured by the percentage of populations using improved sanitation facilities. So what is a toilet? We're not going to get too much into the technical pieces, but I just want to cover quickly what is a toilet. Really, we're talking about the pans here. And the big challenges with the existing infrastructure, you think of what do you see out in the field? You see a lot of pit latrines. A lot of them are not covered, so they're still not actually having that barrier between humans and their feces. So this is why there's still a lot of challenges to these existing technologies. And if you think about the toilets that we're still trying to sell to poor people or trying to hand out to poor people around the world, these, in some cases, the design of these haven't changed in 30 years. So there's something really problematic with our product development in the sector. And then you really have what the collection and storage is, which is really the pit. And that's sort of the back end. And then there's a whole bunch of issues around fecal sludge management that go into the back end. How do you get the shit out of the pit and treat it properly and get it to a place where it can be reused or disposed? So there's massive challenges with groundwater contamination, and a lot of the existing technologies still are having exposure. So we have to be very aware of that. What is fecal sludge management? So this is really everything that is not connected to a sewer. So when you hear fecal sludge management, just think, okay, it's not connected to a sewer, then it's having to do with fecal sludge management. Sometimes we call it on-site, sometimes we call it off-grid, but essentially it's everything that's not sewerage sanitation. And this is a really high priority for donors right now. And the Gates Foundation in particular has focused a ton on the fecal sludge management piece, and they've really been pushing to actually get governments to start thinking, because the reality is, as soon as governments get any money at their disposal, they automatically, we're going to build a sewer. And you'll see from this slide, how much usually does the sewer actually really cover? It doesn't cover very much of the whole population. It's usually mostly in the wealthier neighborhoods. So this is just an example of your sanitation market where 10% maybe would be covered by sewers. Now, some cities, Senegal, Dakar, the coverage is higher for sewerage, but in general, there's still a large there's large parts of the population where sewerage is not a reality, it's not going to be a reality soon, so we have to focus on this fecal sludge management. What is our use over need? What is our actual market versus market potential? So we've heard that 2.4 billion people lack access to improved sanitation. 4 billion are affected by all these fecal sludge management issues where it's toilets are overflowing, it's in the drainage, it's in the waterways, it's in the neighborhoods. As I already alluded to, much of the improved sanitation that is out there, even though it's classified as improved, like a VIP pipetry, a lot of times it's really not improved. So this is still, those toilets are going to need upgrading. They're going to need much better facilities. And quite honestly, Sarah's demanding that. There's been studies by the World Bank, a great study called Tapping the Market, that said that Sarah is just making do with what she's got, because she goes out and looks for better toilet options, but doesn't find them in the market. So she just makes do. And that's not acceptable. She wants something more aspirational, more affordable, more appropriate. She's ready to, in many cases, she's ready to buy a toilet, or he's ready to buy a toilet. And we've got other challenges. People, even sometimes when there's cultural issues, they have a toilet in their house, and they still don't want to use it. So we do have behavior change issues, and we're in fact making some really interesting strides in India. And we need permanent service. The populations are going to grow, they're going to move. This is about service delivery. The themes of the sector are service delivery, scale, sustainability. So our key challenges around supply and demand, there's a weak private sector. The availability of affordable options I've been talking about. So those aren't there in terms of the core market functions. The supporting functions, we have terrible sector coordination, even though most countries that you're all from, you have sector coordination groups. But the truth is, they're really not, they're divvying up where they're working. They're not truly coordinating. They're not truly working towards a common vision, a common goal. Now this is going to start to change with the Sustainable Development Goals, so we got to be out in front of that. But historically, that has not happened. Finance. We all know that consumers, enterprises have difficulty finding finance when they need to fill that gap for purchasing equipment. Poorly trained workforce. A lot of the entrepreneurs, they don't really see that when we did our analysis, our 5 whys with Catherine and SFP, one of the things that came out of the 5 whys were businesses, even if they're in the sanitation business, they really don't see it as a business. It's kind of a side thing. So there's a need to train that workforce. And lack of enforcement of existing policy. Most countries also have amazing laws on the books about sanitation, about who can dump, where, and not dump, and the truth is they're not followed. So there's just, the enforcement is really So quickly going to talk just about where we are globally in sanitation. We have a good history actually of household water treatment, as all of you. So we're building off a foundation in our sanitation work. We built off a foundation in our sanitation work. A solid 10 plus years of trying to make household water treatment products be sold in a market. And so we've learned from those experiences and building up our sanitation. And now in just a few years, we've actually built up a pretty good footprint of our sanitation experiences. But you can see from this, we've got multiple countries. We're doing work currently in 13 countries around sanitation, whether it's big work or small work. We've got a variety of interventions. We have a diverse donor base for this work, from USAID to UNICEF to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to the World Bank. And we're doing work in urban and rural environments. So we do have a lot to pull from in terms of experience, and we just have to get that knowledge shared. And that's exactly why we're here this week as well. And our 2 big programs, as you probably all know, our flagship India program on rural sanitation. which runs until 2017. And then we have our SSD program. And so quickly our examples. So what does this mean? For us, as I mentioned, scale and sustainability and service delivery. These are the key terms of the wash sector. This is really important. And so when we look at this, we're trying to understand, how this fits into TMA. So it's obviously this is what we learned from Yasmin this morning. This is a lot more than just supply and demand. It's much more than the core market functions. Much more than the 4 Ps. This is about the enabling environment as well. And that enabling environment for sanitation is very complex. And even the supply and demand piece for the sanitation market is very complex. So we're really trying to understand that and get a very good picture of that. And we also do need to apply the lessons that we've learned from India and from, frankly, a lot of other. We've got to learn from each other on how to make this work and work effectively and really have top-notch, state-of-the-art programs around sanitation. So I'm going to just do a couple of examples of sort of what this means in practice. So core functions, supply and demand. This is a supply piece. Essentially in India, we fixed the supply chain. I mean, there's still pieces that aren't working 100%, but we've essentially fixed the supply chain in India, and now families can go to a CRM Plus, we call it cement ring manufacturer, call them CRM Pluses. Go there, and essentially it's not a one-stop shop per se, but they can really find a place to get a toilet installed, and they can buy that toilet. And we lowered the price by almost $300 since we started working. So through some product development that we've done with our partners, we've been able to reduce the price. So there are ways to do this. And as Yasmin alluded to, we fixed the supply chain for finance. So now people can start to access loans. And that's, quite honestly, that's just getting started. So we're hoping to have a huge amount of learning in the next 6 months about that. Well, we've had some good accomplishments. We've significantly reduced the time to deliver a toilet. It used to take something like 30 to 50 days. Now it takes under a week. So there's been some really exciting work. So talk to Barimo about this. This is exciting. We learned a lot from IDE. We actually hired the people that made IDE successful, who were Whitney and Roy partnership, to do the sales and sales management and really help us develop that training. So there's a lot of learning around taking what partners are doing and replicating that as well. And that's what's happened for the core market functions of demand in models. So we've created a really robust sales management structure there. We've done human-centered design to come up with a product that consumers really want and that solve their problem. I've got the SSD example of how we're working on enabling environment issues. We're working with the government to get them more engaged in helping create a better enabling environment for fecal sludge management. A lot of these trucks that you see in the picture that go and collect the waste, they don't want to go drive 20 kilometers, as an example, to dump the waste in a sewage treatment plant that does exist. And they never will, because frankly it doesn't make sense to their bottom line. So what they do is they just find a little waterway and they open their truck real quick, no one's looking, and like we talked about, no one's going to really pay attention and find them anyway. So we're spending time with the government, with ONAD, which is the government structure there, to find ways that can support these businesses. So probably what that's going to entail is them building a transfer station or some other type of facility where these tanker operators can go a reasonable distance to dump the waste. It's the same problem we're solving for the tanker operators in India as well. That's why we've managed to do so much fecal sludge work there. And what's exciting about PSI and what's exciting about coming to PSI from after being in the sector for 15 years myself, 15 plus years, is the comparative advantage that we have. PSI is we have a huge footprint, 70 countries. We have 45 years of experience doing amazing development work. So we've got to leverage that. There's so many core competencies that PSI already has. And already, we talked a lot about this when I was in Uganda in April, like marketing and social franchising and supporting private sector entities like clinics, like networks of clinics. These are all transferable skills to the sanitation sector. So it's not rocket science for us to make this leap and to do this kind of work. And the other two exciting things that in my mind around comparative advantage is that we have the trust of the government. Governments like us, and they trust us, and we can leverage that trust for sanitation, because that, as you can hear, the enabling environment, the rules, regulations, and the supporting roles that government plays as well are critical to making this all work. And lastly, one of our core principles is collaboration. And honestly, this collaboration focus, this means a lot. This sector is dying for good collaboration. It's dying for collective impact. And there's a role in how to do collective impact successfully, which is called the backbone organization. And folks, PSI is probably a pretty good backbone organization in a lot of these places. So we've got a role, a really strong role. And this is all aligning with our strategic plan initiatives. We do market landscape in all our countries, as we talked about. We've got to do that. As we learn, we share, we're nurturing the network. As we build, we're going to build a huge evidence base, leading with evidence. And lastly, we're integrating, especially within MCSD, with our nutrition work and with our diarrhea treatment. So, and lastly, my last point, we can't do this alone, right? It's going to take lots of partnerships. And luckily in sanitation, it really is a very collaborative space. And we've got some fantastic partners that we work with already, that we are going to continue working with. I think that's it, and I'm going to hand it over to Mary now to talk a little bit about NBD.
Okay, super. So John and Genevieve asked me to just do a very quick 5-minute overview of how we are now going to take all of this great learning and exploration together and to be able to find funding for taking all of these great examples and prototypes forward and have the funding to do that. So I'm just going to walk through 5 very quick snapshots. The first quick snapshot is just all of the great work that you guys have been doing. We had, just taking a quick look at last year, we had the big win for the West Africa Sanitation Service Delivery. We did also submit to the Gates Foundation for Liberia Wash program, which unfortunately we lost, and we did have some smaller proposals that some were waiting response for and some that were lost. And just as a note, in terms of new business, generally we aim for about a 50% success rate. That's standard in the business, so we're right on par there. In terms of this year, lots of activity going on. The Senegal team is here and worked with John on the Senegal Access under the Water and Development IDIQ. That is pending, and we had some good initial feedback on that, so we're waiting. We're less successful with several wells in South Sudan. Nice win in Liberia. Uganda Wash, there was a big RFA that came out and then was later withdrawn. So I think we got almost to red team or past red team. So a lot of great work went into that. A lot of that work went into our Wadi sub-role. That's now pending. So we're hoping that will come out again. And then some other small and medium initiatives that came out, and again, we're kind of right around that 50% mark there. While wash in general and sanitation is a small overall percentage of PSI's revenue compared to malaria, compared to HIV, it represents huge growth potential for us. in terms of both donor interest as well as our core strength. This really takes us back, and a lot of you know, I mean, I love free net distribution. I've devoted my life to it for many years and love it, and I love working with governments, and I love all of that and all of what that means. But this also takes us back to our roots, and we had some very nice feedback from a donor, and I'm sorry, this looks very tiny up here on the screen. But so I won't read through all of this, but what you're seeing up here is this is actually from USAID back to us on one of our recent proposals. And because it's still in process, I won't tell you which one it is. But essentially the bottom line is that USAID really liked and felt that it was a really strong proposal, that we were showing that we were being market facilitators. And they even said, we see that you are showing a clear picture of how to approach the market, how to facilitate the market, and to be a facilitator rather than an actor. So they did call that out. Also looking at our innovation, but with a base of evidence, some of our core principles of always trying to work through governments and partners. And also our understanding of the technical issues and approach to coordination. So doing this still in very close alignment with the government and with partners. So some of the elements of success that we've seen across all proposals and where we're having greater success, obviously positioning and preparation. Proposals are most often won 6 months before the RFA drops, and we, MCSD and MBD, are working very closely on this, so watch this space. We're going to be leveraging, we have tools, we do work in the pre-bid, pre-solicitation phase, but we're going to be doing much more in this space, much more in the landscaping, much more working together, and working through our understanding of the market systems, landscaping, building the results frameworks using our new logic model training that we're receiving, building from there our strategy and our inputs. We're also in alignment with several of the key donors who we are already working with and who are already committed to furthering water and sanitation. And the themes that we're seeing are scale, sustainability, and innovation, so also very much in line with it.